Therapy. Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Hello, family. Good to see you. It's a new week, and
Yes, it is.
prayerfully, everybody is doing really, really well.
Yes, yes. How you
Yes,
doing?
I'm good. I'm good. God is good.
Mm-hmm.
He's always in control in the midst of
Amen.
everything. I've been busy, busy,
Yes, you
busy
have been.
since September 18th. So it
Mm-hmm.
seemed like
Mm-hmm.
things are coming to a point where I can start to focus on some other things. And
Okay.
you got that hair string. You
I
told me
seen
looking
it
at
over
there,
there.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Cause then
But
Zoe be like, "Hey, you got that
yeah.
string that hair thing going on." Yeah.
But everything, God is good, like I said. So
Mm-hmm.
everything's coming back in order, but
Amen.
everything's in God's order. So
Awesome, awesome.
all is well.
Ooh, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited for you because I know there's some changes
A lot.
that you have been going through. They're always for the
Yes.
better. We look
Yes.
at change as something that,
Mm-hmm.
while we embrace.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Changes that stretches.
oh God, yes. I look tired because I am
I
tired.
got my glasses on to try to cover up a little bit, but God is
Yes.
good. God is good.
Yes,
He
because of the
gives us the
stretching.
strength. He gives us the strength while he's stretching us.
And that's probably why I'm like, oh, because it's been a stretching
Mhm.
family. But you know what? Stretching is not a bad thing either.
No,
With
it's not.
change comes
Mm-mm.
stretching, and stretching just means let's
Mm-hmm.
enlarge our tents and just make
Yes.
the strengthen the cores and just get
Mm-hmm.
stronger and just get firm in
Mm-hmm.
what we believe in and stand in
Yes.
what we believe in, knowing that
Mm-hmm.
God will never leave us. He never forsakes us. And
Mm-mm.
that is the best thing that you can hang
Yeah.
on to, when you're being stretched.
Yes. And you learn so much about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really seen how my walk with Christ has definitely
Mm-hmm.
like it's embedded in me. And
Mm-hmm.
like we talked about, before when people talk about don't take me back to my old ways, it's I got tested family. I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And them old ways is not in me. And I was thanking the Lord for,
Amen.
what I went through because I could have went there,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't and it just wasn't in me.
Praise the
And
Lord.
I'm just thanking the Lord, like, yeah, them ways, like you say, when you baptize, you just leave it, and it has truly been left. So the Lord
Mm.
did show me that, and giving me the strength to take care of everything else I gotta do. Susie, we are just having hair issues
Listen, I got
today.
curls coming out the different size today.
Family,
It
it
was
is what it
raining
is.
today.
Yes,
It was
yes,
one of those. It was dreary, but it's
yeah,
okay. It's okay. You know what? This is us,
yes, yes,
and you gotta love
yes,
me for me. Okay,
yes.
that's all I gotta say.
She says, "Come as you are." So we are coming as we are
Yes,
today,
yes,
recording.
yes, we are. Yes, we are. And I'm just thankful. And I just
Hmm.
pray that God will just continue to encourage you guys to give you the strength that you need. You know what,
Hmm.
Zoe? I did a video this week and I
Uh
have
huh.
got so much feedback. And I was
Uh
like, oh, wow. I mean, it was
huh.
crazy. It was just, I do a happy Friday.
Right,
I do a happy
right.
Friday. And it's like, people are like, hey, you're going to do a happy Friday? It was kind of
Uh-huh.
cool. And it was, I was enjoying it and people were just enjoying it as well.
Uh-huh.
But you know what? I had gone through such a rough week, Zoe, that
Mm.
I, I had no happy in me.
You couldn't pull it out.
It was crazy. And then,
Uh-huh.
I usually have a location where I
Mm-hmm.
do the Happy Friday, right?
Okay.
And it's near the a bridge.
Okay.
And so as I was driving by the bridge, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, this is my usual Happy Friday moment.
Right.
I had nothing.
Oh.
I just felt like I can't do a Happy Friday. I
Mm-hmm.
just didn't feel happy.
Mm-hmm.
And but as I drove past the bridge,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, wait a minute. This something is not no.
Mm-hmm.
This is not right.
Right.
Okay. You can't let the enemy win.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
you want to do a Happy Friday in spite of. Why? Because this is what you do. You
Mm-hmm.
encourage people. You
Right.
speak life to people.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be wonderful for
Mm-hmm.
the enemy if you didn't speak life to someone today.
Right.
You don't know what the person needs to hear today.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, you know what? Yes, in spite of me,
Right.
in spite of how I was feeling,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I was going to tell somebody, Happy Friday! In spite of how I was feeling.
Right.
Because, you know, even in that drive before I even did the video,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, because it's not about you.
Exactly.
All right? It's
Exactly.
not about us.
Right.
When
Right.
we rise up every morning,
Mm-hmm.
where we go to work, trust me,
Mm-hmm.
you've been given a task to do.
Right.
You're working where you work because God has placed you there.
Right.
Right? And
know you can do the job.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And we're vessels of God wherever we go.
Right.
So, you know, in your workplace, God
Mm-hmm.
uses you.
Mm-hmm.
In my workplace, God uses me.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where we go, whether
Right.
it's in our church, in a ministry,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is,
On the street.
on the streets, we're called, okay,
Mm-hmm.
to represent Jesus. We're called to
Mm-hmm.
represent Christ. And
Yes.
so we have to do what God has called us to do,
Yes.
in spite of us, okay?
And what we're going through. And
That's
Susie,
right.
you know, I commend you. You actually encouraged me because in the
Praise
midst
the
of,
Lord.
like I said, all the things that's going through,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I was like getting hard on myself. Like, girl, you know, you're supposed to do your Saturday videos and this
Mm-hmm.
and that. And it was like, when I saw your video, I was like, yeah, you know what? In the midst of everything you're going
That's
through,
right.
just stop and do a quick Saturday check-in video, weekly
Mm-hmm.
check-in, you know. And I was like, all right, that encouraged me. Like,
Praise
you know,
the
I like to
Lord.
prepare for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like I didn't have time to prepare, so I'm not doing a video. But seeing
Mm-hmm.
your video was like, you know what? Just do it, you know, because like you said, people are looking forward to that, the weekly
Mm-hmm.
encouragement.
That's
even though we
right.
encourage all kind of ways.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, that live video does help. So
Mm-hmm.
it actually remind me like,
Mm-hmm.
look, she ready to break down crying.
I sure was. I
So
was like,
you
I'm
need to break
sad.
down crying while you're encouraging somebody just to keep going with life and stay motivated and get your exercise in and eat healthy and do what you got to do, you know, as you crying.
Yeah, I was like, oh, hold on to yourself, girl, because yes, it was like I felt discouraged, I felt
Mhm.
sad, but it was like, look, no, in
Yes.
spite of that,
Yes. Mhm.
because we're all gonna go through moments of discouragement.
Yes.
We're all gonna go through moments of sadness, and you know,
Mhm.
I think the real ticket, you know, the real reason I was like, wait. First of all, people need to understand I'm a human being just like
Yes.
anybody else.
Yes.
And so for others to see that, I
Mhm.
think, you know, we're being transparent.
Mhm.
All right? And we're not perfect, and we're not living a perfect world.
No.
We go through struggles, we go
Yes,
through
we do.
trials. And so that was the encouragement part,
Right.
that listen guys, even though we're going
Mhm.
through this, even though I was feeling this way, you know, I'm going to push through in spite of me. All
Mhm.
right? And that was the encouragement for other people, because every other person has a calling. God, you know, they're going through something. So
Mhm.
it's like, don't give up, guys. Just let's
No.
keep doing what we're doing. And that was actually, like I said, it was a lot of feedback. I
Mhm.
mean, I had family talking about, do I need to take care of somebody for you? I mean, I hate to see you sad.
Right, and I saw a video later that night that was basically saying, you know, don't be distracted. And the Lord was like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, send it to Susie. And, you know, I don't like to put people on blast in comment
No, that
sections
was
and
good.
everything. And the Lord was
Mhm.
like, send it to Susie. And I'm
Amen.
like, 2 times, okay? So I'm like,
Okay.
okay, Lord, I'm going to just either Susie Began, like tag you in it, you know, and then when you send me the
Yes.
message back, I'm like, thank you, Lord, like, you know,
No.
but, you know, because I live a private life, but it's like, I don't like to put people on blast.
No.
But it was like, I had to be obedient, you know.
It was awesome. It was an on-time message.
Yeah.
And I thank you for it, because it showed what I was feeling.
Okay.
Okay?
Mhm.
It showed because of all the distractions that take place when you're walking in the walk, when you're
Mhm.
walking towards that call, you know, for the
Yeah.
big picture, whatever it is God is leading you to.
Something on
You're going to be the enemy is going to block you in every step of the way.
Mhm.
And so those moments of discouragement will happen, but you gotta push through.
Yes.
And what I loved about the video is, like, every time she said another scripture
Yes.
that gave her more strength, she push through, and it was cool. And maybe you can share it with other people, but it was like she had roadblocks.
Yes.
And the roadblocks were actually people she was using along the way. And of course, every time she made it past another level, boom, a bigger one was there standing in her way. And that's just how it is.
Yeah, especially in that she was working towards her destiny. So
yes.
It's like the enemy don't want us to reach the destiny that God has called us to be in and to reach. So it's like that video inspired me, but it was like your name written all over. I was like, I don't know what she's going through.
Oh,
but
no, it was awesome, awesome.
You know, but definitely family, the message that I received today, you know, actually from my mom, you know, like in the midst of everything we're going through, God still shows up and shows how much he's in control. And that should keep you encouraged along. But tonight, Susie, oh my gosh, this topic. It's another hot one.
It's hot. And the crazy thing was, like, we chose this topic, like, last week, and then things happened. Unfortunately, we couldn't be on. But, you know, the topic, I'm like, What? Because... You know, we try to, like, when we look in the Bible, we think of there's so many women in there, and I don't think in a lot of times you can be in church like forever, right? But then there's a lot of people we don't touch.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
You know, there's different women, and usually we're talking about Mary, Mary at the well, Mary at Jesus' feet. You know, we talk about all these other people, but there's certain key people because they were bad girls.
Yeah, it was some bad girls in there. Yeah, and we haven't really talked about the bad girls before.
We had one, but now this one.
We talked about Jezebel. That was a hot topic.
Yes.
Yeah, but so, this is another one.
This was a bad girl, and she was mean. She was not nice.
Yeah, I mean, she was so bad. I can't even give her a name. In fact, they didn't even give her a name.
She didn't have a name.
No.
Yeah,
because she was that bad. It's like, we're not giving you a name.
But you know what, Zoe? But you know what? You kind of like find now in your heart, like after reading the story and talking about her, you know, we get to talk about her. I find a little special place in my heart for her because then it makes me feel like, you know, you gotta feel kind of sad for the girl.
I don't know.
It's great.
I'm like hard on my girls. Like, you know, it's true. But she's we just gotta go on the topic. Yes and no. Well, I can't. It's not in me to feel bad for her.
Well, it's not about feeling bad, but when you really dig deeper, I'm that person. I like to look deeper. What really happened? What's behind the story? What's behind the person?
True.
Okay.
And we gonna go there. We'll understand everything, but it's ways around it. But she may not have had it back then. She may not have the sisters around her to encourage her, to get her through.
You know what? And that's another area. I guess we're going to go flowing through. Absolutely. Yes. She was missing something.
Yeah. So I do feel for her.
Okay.
She needed some sisters.
And you know why?
To speak of life.
Yes, she did. She didn't have us there with her. But you know why? That's true. That part is so true. She didn't have sisters, obviously, around her. But, you know, it just gives us compassion, even for today's women.
Yes.
Okay? That are probably experiencing these things.
Oh, yeah.
All right?
Oh, yeah.
So we're just going to dig in a little bit into the story, guys.
Yes.
And we're going to tell you a little bit about her.
But before we go there, family, the title of the show, if you have not already seen, the original Desperate Housewife.
I bet you didn't know there was one in the Bible.
Yes, the original Desperate Housewife. Not the Desperate Housewives you've been watching, nothing like that. This is the original. She started it all.
And I thought about her and I was like, ooh, she's like the original. I mean, hello, this chick was no joke. But we're not going to delay it any longer. We're going to tell you a little bit about this story. The story actually has to do with Joseph. Okay. And unfortunately, Zoe, Joseph was sold by his brothers into slavery.
Yeah, Joseph had it rough.
Okay. Yes. And the story is in the book of Genesis, chapter 37. And so what happens is Joseph was sold to the Midianites, and you know, sold by to the Midianites, and then he was sold to in Egypt, okay, to Potiphar, one of Potiphar's officials. He was a captain, he was a guard, and basically Joseph had been sold by his brothers, like I had said earlier, to traveling Midianites, who then sold them to to Potiphar. I'm repeating myself, but it's because I got to get in order. And Potiphar was likely a very wealthy man. All right. He was employed as captain of the guard and was able to purchase a servant. All right. Potiphar would have likely led the king's executioners as ordered by the Pharaoh.
So also Potiphar, he was happy with Joseph's work. When Joseph's master saw that the Lord was with him, that's what Potiphar saw, and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did. So basically, everything Joseph touched turned to gold. So Joseph found favor in his eyes. He became his attendant, and Potiphar put him in charge of his household. So Joseph was in charge of the big house.
Everything.
The big house.
The mansion.
You know, he wanted him to care for everything he owned. From the time he put him in charge of his household and everything that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptians. And because Joseph was in charge. So the blessings of the Lord was on everything Potiphar had, both in the house, in the field. So that's why he left Joseph in care.
Yeah, he didn't have to worry about him. He just was like, he's got it. And so when you have...
But the only thing he didn't leave him in charge of was his food. So Potiphar must have been like me with food.
It was his food and his wife. Okay. He must have been like you with the food. How can you explain that?
He said, I got my food now. Just take care of everything else.
Oh, okay. Because I have somebody who takes care of my food for me. That's what he said. So basically, he had it covered. And you know what it was that he trusted him obviously so much, because it can only be that you've developed a relationship with someone to be able to get to that trust level that you don't even worry about him. And that's about it. Like you just say, he was like, what, the gold, everything he touched turned to gold.
Right.
And so basically he knew this kid has something. There was something special about him.
Yes.
And so he had no worries. And how awesome that is to when you find someone like that, that is like that hand, that right hand, you don't even have to worry about them.
Right.
But you know, the unfortunate thing is sometimes in today's world, you hear the stories a lot about sometimes the right hand goes a little further and takes advantage of some of the things that the right hand, the other person holds, and sometimes it might filter over to personal stuff.
Right.
But you know what?
And they'll stab you in the back.
And we've heard stories like that. Yeah. But the amazing thing was, Zoe, that this young man, oh my God, he has such a fear of God. He loved God. Yes. And he obviously honored and loved the Potiphar.
And everything, I like Joseph because everything he did was for God, not for himself. You know, he kept that in the forefront of his mind, and a great example of how we should live our life.
Right. And he struggled because he was his brothers,
man, stab him in the back.
They didn't like him. Period. They didn't like him. They got jealous about him because he was given a vision by God. Yes. The unfortunate thing was that he kind of said it ahead of time, and he shouldn't have said it. Maybe he should have just kept his mouth shut. Yeah. But at the end of the day...
But think about it. It's like, you know, it's your brothers. Who do you think you can share it with out of excitement, out of joy? You know, this is something we all could celebrate. No. But you can't. Your brothers, blood, non-blood, not everything can be shared.
Yeah, they had an issue with hearing him say, eventually we're going to bow down to you. Yeah, okay. And so the poor guy, you know, was sold into slavery. But you know what's awesome about God is that when he starts something in us, he's going to complete it. Yes. No matter which route we end up having to take, but he is still going to complete it. Yeah. So.
And everything along that route still prepares you.
Absolutely.
So you don't lose out. You're still going to reach your destiny.
No, thank God. Thank God for that. That he always still connects us to what we need to get to that destiny. Yeah. So, Potiphar, Zoe, was married.
Yeah. Potiphar's wife.
That's all we know her as, Potiphar's wife.
Mrs. Potiphar. That's what we're going to call her.
And that's messed up. Poor thing. That's what I'm talking about. She didn't even have a name for herself.
No. She was known as Potiphar's wife. So it's like when you go out, you and Rick, you know, you say, oh, this is Rick Pagan and this is Rick Pagan's wife. This is...
No.
Rick's Pagan wife. That's the title. Rick Pagan's wife.
No. You can tell me Mrs. Pagan. You
No.
can say Mrs. Pagan.
You're Rick Pagan's wife.
No.
You couldn't live back in Genesis time.
No. We wasn't going to live in Genesis time because I would just have an issue with that. Because I have my own identity.
Yes.
Okay.
But she didn't.
So obviously she didn't.
Yes.
Because, you know, everybody just recognized her as Potiphar's wife. So check this out. What can we learn about this woman? All right. The story of Joseph and Potiphar's wife is in Genesis 39, if you ever want to check it out. It contains some obvious lessons about fidelity in the face of sexual temptation. Yes. Mm-hmm. And there was also some subtle points to be found about the loyalty of God. The story is dramatic. Okay, Jacob's son, as we said earlier, is in Egypt, where he is Potiphar's servant and most trusted overseer over everything. Potiphar's wife sees that Joseph was well built and looking pretty good.
Muscles.
He was like the pool boy, the gardener.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So she said, hold on a second. Well.
Right.
Go on, Zoe. You can share the rest.
Well, you know, where'd you stop at, Susie? Let's get
right okay. Right here.
So basically, because you know now I'm a visual person,
we in it.
Right? So I'm visualizing Joseph right now, and I'm like, where we at? Oh, okay, bring me back. Yes. All right. So Potiphar, like, she sees him, like you said, this muscular young man, you know, probably glowing skin and just shining with God's presence, but she don't know that that's what she's attracted to. Exactly. Right. She not realizing that's what she's really attracted to. But since she don't know that, Potiphar's wife just said, you know what? Potiphar not giving me any attention. So let me just try to seduce Joseph. But he startly refuses. Like, I'm loyal to God, number one, and I'm loyal to Potiphar. You are not on the list as far as things that I need to take care of in that way.
Right.
So, and he said that. He said, my master has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. So how then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God? And this is all in Genesis 39:9. Joseph is loyal, like I said, to both Potiphar and God. Potiphar's wife, she don't give up. She was like, yeah, okay, I know. But, I'm Mrs. Potiphar. So, therefore, I got it going on. So, therefore, I'm going to try to seduce you again, day after day. But, go Joseph. Joseph, you know what? He kept refusing to go to bed with her. And, Joseph did all he could.
Poor guy.
He did all he could not to be alone with her and not to fall into her trap.
And you know the unfortunate thing, Zoe, and I'm glad like we dig into these stories because the reality is that we still live these kind of situations. You know, whether it's a man or a woman doing it to a man. These things do exist, and so her status.
Right.
She figured, well, darn, I'm Mrs. Potiphar. So I should have what I want.
Exactly.
She has everything else. Zoe. She's in a palace, most likely. She has her maid, she has her butler, she has her chauffeur, she has everything she needs. I mean, so why not have that one thing that now she wants?
Exactly.
It's that little toy boy.
And that's what it is. Yes.
And she's thinking, all I gotta do is get him and that's it. But she didn't know who she was dealing with.
Right.
Okay. So that's why we call this chick the original
Desperate Housewife.
And that's where the sadness comes in, Zoe.
Yeah.
That's where
she's desperate. She's
desperate. Exactly. I don't think there's anything sadder than a wife who is desperate, a wife who's bored.
Right.
There was something missing in her life. All right. And it was obvious that Potiphar, he was overseeing, a lot.
Yeah, it was.
All right. So that means Joseph, Joseph was covering a lot for him, but he still had a great responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
He was a great leader, and he was a man that people looked up to.
Right.
So, of course, he had this, I'm sure, this air about him, and he had this, image that he had to uphold. But sometimes, he may have worked so much that something was missing.
Yes.
Okay. And that could happen. That happens still today.
Yes.
All right.
And this was back in Genesis time, so that's why it's like I just love the Bible, because if we dig into it, it has an answer for anything that we're going through.
Yeah, exactly. And today, in our world today, we have that show where it's called The Desperate Housewives, and so we think of Eva Longoria and some other actresses, and when I think of them, I'm like, but wait, this girl back here, way back in this Bible, she was similar to these women, and why? Because she was home alone.
Yes.
Most likely. She became bored, and
even
now,
though she had it all,
she
didn't have what she desired.
Right. She was missing something, which could have been that attention, that affection, that love from her husband.
Right.
Okay. And that's something you can't just get anywhere. All right. But I guess she figured, well, if I can't get it from him, I gotta get it from the other guy.
Right, the one he left in charge.
And I'm sure he was in uniform, so he was looking pretty good.
Oh yeah. He was in uniform, right?
So basically, like we said earlier, there's a lot of stuff must have been missing in her life, in her heart, that she felt she needed to take action. The unfortunate thing is she didn't have sisters like us to say, no girl, don't do it.
Don't go there. It's not worth it.
Don't do it. It's not right. It's not worth it. However, she just pursued what she felt she was missing.
Right.
And the sad thing is that Zoe, she gets him. She gets him in a room. She pulls on his cloak. Right. All right. And the guy's trying to get away so bad.
He's trying to, not get caught up in that situation. Right. So he's fighting her off, telling her no, and pretty much like back in the day, they didn't call it rape, but she was basically trying to rape him. She was. She was trying to rape him, and he's trying to get away, like, no, and things happen, and he had to get out of there without his clothes. So.
And this is the second time, poor guy, is without his clothes, because the first time was when his brothers ripped his cloak away from him, and then now this time he runs out of there and he's naked, and now it's not looking good. I mean, I don't know what you would have thought. I mean, if I was in that time and I see a brother running out of a room naked, I'm like,
yeah, what happened?
Okay, and then on top of that, you're coming out of
the missus.
Yes. Potiphar's room. That would have been some big gossip. That would have been scandalous.
Yeah. That would definitely be a story to talk about, because they would have been like, what's going on? Like, okay. And then she, being her, now she got to throw in actress mode.
Right.
Oh, help. Somebody, please.
Well, yeah, because now she got to protect herself, because now whoever is outside of those walls, like, while he's running, they're like, wait a minute. And now she got to make up a story, because the guy's running out. But now what really, really, really got to her was that she got rejected.
Yeah. And I think that's where I struggle with, do I feel bad for her? Do I not feel bad for her? Because it's like, okay, so you're mad because you didn't get what you wanted because of your desperation to feel the need to fill in the void that the husband wasn't filling, and because you got rejected, now you're mad and you're going to flip the story and try to blame him for something that he didn't do. And that's the part where I'm like, I don't feel bad for her, because it's like, why are you gonna do that to poor Joseph? He just trying to keep living a godly, Christ-like life.
Just trying to live like Jesus.
Yes. And you gonna lie on the boy.
It's true. No, for her sin, I don't like her for the sin.
Yeah.
I don't like her for the lie. But I always, like I said, I'm the one. I'm always digging deeper. Like there's a reason. There's a reason.
Yes.
And just I'm trying to understand the individual, why they do what they do. Trust me. When there's people who are cheating, when there's people who commit adultery, when there's people, well, that is cheating and adultery, it's the same thing. But when there's people who do things, my sister earlier was saying it best: hurt people hurt people. Right? Okay. So it's always something that they have gone through. Or they're missing that causes them to be the way that they are. Right.
Especially if they haven't forgiven an individual.
Correct. Yeah, either they didn't forgive or they just haven't discovered that, wait a minute, that's wrong with me. I need to change. Right. You know, because they're not facing themselves in the mirror and the reality that they're wrong. Right. Okay. So they'll continue doing it until eventually it catches up to them, and you know, I would hope that they will be able to turn from their wicked ways. And
one thing that you know, it wasn't a lot about her life as far as her walk with Christ. You know, so well, it's back in Genesis, so her walk with God, you know, her faith and her beliefs. So we don't know much about her there, you know, but hopefully this situation would have turned her life around. And realized her wrong, because she got out of it.
I don't think she ever admitted it.
No, she got out of it.
There's nothing in there that ever says she admitted that.
She got away with it.
He didn't do anything to her. The poor guy had to go to jail because Potiphar. Now, you know, she tells her husband. First, she tells everybody. Right. Okay.
Put him on blast.
Puts him on blast. Now, you know, she's destroying his reputation.
Yes.
And that is very sad.
And one thing about it is they say, you know, people who truly know your character, people can't ruin your reputation. Right. But when you in a situation and Potiphar's wife tells him, like, okay, this is what Joseph did. Now he knows Joseph. He knows Joseph, and he probably knows the truth. Yeah, you know, but he's in a situation like, okay, what am I going to do? Like, my wife is saying this, even though I know this about Joseph. Right. Maybe Potiphar had to look at himself like, well, do I take some blame for this? You know, but
that's right.
Like you said, who wants to look in the mirror?
Yeah. I mean, of course, he had to defend her honor. You know, of course, when he heard it, it had to be hard for him to even believe it. Right. Okay, because he knew this young man. Yes. He knew where he stood as a believer. And then he knew his wife. Okay. So he knew her. He probably knew that she was seeking a lot of attention. Right. That's probably why he was working all the time, because he probably felt like, I can't do this. And the truth is, sometimes men will be out a lot because they can't give all that attention that is being asked of them. And not that they don't want to, it's just that, listen, I have responsibilities. Right. So we don't know.
He's probably tired when he got home.
He was probably tired. Yeah. She was probably nagging him on a regular, like, I'm not getting attention. Right. And so he's like, I am overseeing this country. And you're going to nag me about attention? Right. But the sad thing is, the truth is that, you do have to give her the attention, because not giving her the attention made her look at this young man.
Yes. So true.
So true. Men and women. Yes. Vice versa. Okay. Look at what you're doing. Check yourself. Yes. Check the attention you're giving to your marriage, your spouse. Just do a self-check. Right. Because if there's areas that we're lacking in,
and then that door is cracked. I can't even say open. If it's cracked.
It's cracked. Yeah. Yeah. So we have to be sure that we shut that door, and that those areas that we have to give attention to, that we give attention to, because the enemy is very slick. He's watching all the time, and it's just that swift, quick moment that old flame can just boop pop up, or a phone call, a text message, you know,
compliments,
a compliment, and it make you feel all good and googly. Oh my God, my husband doesn't do that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's be careful, and vice versa.
Right.
That female can be like, oh, you're so good looking, or oh, I like how your cologne smells. Back up, you know, because be watchful. We have to be careful for those things. So back to Potiphar, something was lacking,
right?
And could have been a whole communication situation there.
And they say communication is key in a relationship, but if he was always working, I mean, think about it. He had to leave Joseph in charge of everything other than his food, you know, and his wife. But it's like, that says a lot. Like, you know, I don't have time for this, so I'm gonna leave you in charge of all this. Why go handle my business? You know, but as we know, it's very obvious. He ate, but he didn't handle business with his wife. Yeah, so that's very obvious in this story. Yeah. And like we said, he's not going to face that. He's not going to say, look, this is my part where I played wrong in a situation. And she didn't admit where she played wrong in a situation. Right. But Joseph get punished for everybody.
Poor guy. He got punished real bad, too. But you know what? And we go back to her seeking attention. I want to share this cool little funny story. I had to kind of cut it up because it was like a little too much, but I thought it was funny. I was like, we got to share this, right? So this married woman is talking amongst her girlfriends. I spent all day at the salon. I waxed and I got my hair and my nails done. After that, I went home and prepared a gourmet meal. Just before he was scheduled to arrive home, I opened my closet and pulled out the outfit I'd chosen for the evening. It was something completely unlike anything I've ever worn before. Her friends now curious. They were like, oh my God, what did you do? What did you choose? So she says, I carefully laced up a leather bustier. Leather. Okay. Pulled out the thigh-high leather high-heel boots. Okay.
Oh, my Paula White boots?
Paula White boots. That we talk about a lot. And then she put on her rhinestone studded leather masquerade mask. So now when he gets home, he's seeing all this. You know what I'm saying? So she goes, I felt sure that he would take notice when I met him at the door. I would think so, right? And immediately responded. Her girlfriend's like, what? Tell us. And she's still sighing. And so she goes on and she goes, as soon as I opened the door, he came in, dropped his briefcase, handed me his overcoat, and then smelling dinner in the oven, casually asked, what's for dinner, Batman?
Yes.
I hope you found that funny.
But Susie, it reminds me of a video I saw this week too. And that's sad. What's for dinner, Batman?
That's a shame.
I'm sure the outfit she put on, she was not trying to be Batman or Batwoman, you know. But the video I saw this week, and it ties right into that story. It talked about how, and you may have seen it on Facebook, how when you're in a relationship for 3 months versus 3 years.
Oh,
did you see that
no,
one?
I didn't see it.
Oh my goodness, it's so funny because it shows like in the beginning, 3 months relationship, you know, the woman is preparing, like we talked about, this gourmet meal. 3 years later, here go a bowl of macaroni and cheese. You better just eat that. That's with dinner. You know, as far as like 3 months, you're taking them on a little cruise, you know, down the river, and then 3 years later, you on this boat that's all beat up. Like, come on, like we're going fishing, like, you know. But it just showed how in a relationship from 3 months to 3 years, how it could change, and basically you need to keep that flame going.
Yes. So instead of escalating to better, you're de-escalating to worse. And that was in a matter of 3 years. That's really sad.
And then you know the main one loved this. You know, you're in your sexy clothing 3 months, right? But 3 years later, you got granny panties. So the guy was like, "What is this?" Like,
but you know what is the truth? Oh my God.
gosh.
It is
like,
true.
Yeah. So that's pretty much, Mrs. Potiphar, she probably was doing everything and wasn't getting her husband attention. So she like, I'm going to go after Joseph and show him my 3-month stuff. Right. Maybe he likes it.
And men, we got to be careful. One of the things that men are not, of course, and ladies, we have to accept it, but we got to find a different, we have to find a happy medium. Okay. Men are not talkers.
Right.
And we know it. Okay. That's what I was saying earlier. Potiphar was like, oh, I can't do this all talking thing. This woman just wants to talk and talk. Attention. And I don't have time for this. But guess what? Because he wasn't attending how they say the store, then, she decided, in her case, no one was trying to attend the store for her, but she was figuring, so I need somebody to attend the store.
We're trying to keep it PG, family.
But keeping it real.
Yes.
So, and we thank God. We thank God for lessons because they help us. They educate us, and they also they edify. So we have to learn because it filters. And unfortunately, it's in churches. It's everywhere.
Oh yeah.
So that means there's something missing, and we do have to address it. Yeah. I mean, the granny panties. I mean,
It's real, right?
It's real. And a lot of us, what happens? We get comfortable. Okay? We get comfortable. Potiphar was comfortable.
Yes.
It says it clear. He was comfortable. He was comfortable with Joseph, but he was probably comfortable with his wife too. Like, it's all done. I already did everything I needed to do to woo her and get her where I wanted her.
I got her everything she needs. The housewives, the cars, the drivers, the trainers, like you said, the pool boy, whatever she needs, jewelry, clothing.
Right.
But that wasn't everything. Happy. That wasn't everything.
He felt she should be happy. She should have no complaints.
Right.
Okay, but there was that one-on-one thing that was missing. And that's usually what happens with us. The one-on-one is missing. And again, men are not very emotional, touchy-feely. No, they are touchy-feely, but they're not very emotional, And so us women, we want to talk to them. Let's talk. And he just came home from work. And yes, I understand you may have been with the kids all day and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, he just wants to get a break. I mean, depending what he does as well, it's like he just wants to sit down and we'll say it, chill for a couple of minutes, just relax for a while. And one of the things we don't do anymore is we don't sit around that dinner table and we don't sit, unfortunately, as a family. So I would encourage you to try that, to sit down as a family and just share some time together. And then allow each other that 15 minutes to at least to say, how was your day? Right. But let him take a couple minute break. Let him sit down for a minute, get himself together, so when he's able to start up again, he knows, okay, now we're going to sit down. Once the kids leave the table, babe, how was your day? I like to do that. I always try to make it a point that I'll say, how was your day? As soon as he gets in the car, how was your day? And he'll say, it wasn't so bad. Okay. So we just get to talk a little bit about our day, just so that he can let it out. If it was that he had a hard day, whatever the deal was. So there's interest there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the thing about it also, we talked about, back to the story about Joseph, how, he was the one that got blamed. He got in prison, but God still, protected him while he was in prison.
God used him.
Oh, yeah.
While he was in prison.
Yeah, with the butcher and everything. And this whole story, like we said, is in Genesis 39. And basically the moral of this story is that even a desperate housewife, even a bad girl, she can't outsmart our God.
Amen.
So it's like you can think you're getting away with something and you're doing this to your husband, you're doing this to your wife. No, you're doing it to God. Amen. And God already knows everything in advance. He's an all-knowing God. So therefore, think like Joseph do. Everything that I do for God. Don't get caught up, as Joseph called her, adultery wicked. It's like, and a lot of times I always learn that adultery is not the physical. It starts just through your thoughts, you know, right?
Amen.
So it's like, you know, it starts through your thoughts. You got to check yourself, catch yourself, you know, and just repent and just pray to the Lord to help you in that area. Now, I'm not married, I'm not in a relationship, but, you know, these are things that I have learned. And, you know, one day in the future, I may use, or God may have me keep educating others in my singleness.
She will use.
Well, you know, Susie Prayer, but we're not going to go back to that. If y'all want to hear all about that, y'all can go back on the radio shows on sisterspeakslife.com and hear about Susie Prayers and, you know, in that area.
May use, but it's will use. But
Okay,
anyway,
moving on.
We're done. I'm not going to say anymore. But anyway, you know, something you were saying, Zoe.
Right.
Again, it's when you said it starts in the mind.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about her again, Potiphar's wife. When we were talking about she was bored, she was a bored housewife.
Yeah.
So basically, she had a lot of time to think and a lot of time to think of what's not happening with me.
Right.
Okay. She was doing too much of the me. And basically, if you're a woman who is at home, a housewife, whether you're a housewife or a work wife, you know, to me it doesn't matter, and you're constantly focusing about the me, then yeah, you're gonna find something wrong. You're gonna find all the negatives of the things he's not doing. But I'm gonna give you this advice: check yourself.
Yes.
And check the things you're not doing. Because one of the next topics I want to bring is cutting some slack.
Okay.
That's a new topic. That's going to be a topic in the future. Why? Because we tend to really point the finger a lot, but we don't do a self-reflection of ourselves.
Yeah.
So while she should have been appreciating my husband is out there, he's working.
Yes.
He's doing A, B, C, and D.
Yes.
To keep me happy.
To provide all that she had.
Right. Because to some extent, he thinks he's loving her by doing that, Zoe.
That's his way of showing love. Right.
And there's a lot of men who do that. And that's where both sides have to really check themselves. Because if you're always out the house because you're working, but you're not spending time with her, she doesn't feel loved. Okay, and that's probably what Potiphar's wife was feeling. She probably was feeling, he don't love me. If he loved me, he would be here with me. Remember, we're emotional. So we want to know that you're here, that you're listening, that you care. Even if you tune us out for like 10 minutes of that 15-minute dialogue that we're having, act like you're listening, please. My husband likes to check me. Okay. Mr. Pagan likes to check me. And when he talks to me, sometimes he thinks I'm not listening because I might be in a couple of things at the same time. You know, because we're always like, oh my God, I'm washing the dishes or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And so he'd be like, you hear what I'm saying? And you know, Mr. Pagan, he needs me to look at him, right? Yeah. So and then I say, yes, you said this, and this. And I hope I got it right. You know what I mean? To myself, I'm like, oh my God, I hope I got it right. Because he's just checking if I'm listening. Well, we do that too. Listen. So, men, you know, I encourage you to try to tune in to her. Try to listen to her. Give her that time. Doesn't have to be an all-day thing. Just give her a little bit. And once you acknowledge what she's telling you, trust me, she's gonna be, oh, he's listening. He loves me. We're crazy like that.
Well, there's a few things that that we found on online, and a few things that most wives feel unloved and hurt, and some are practical suggestions as far as like our alternatives. So we'll wrap up the show. Pretty much what was suggested is a biggie that wives who feel unloved and hurt by, they really want their spouse to pray with us. I'm saying with us because that's what it says on paper. To pray with one another. It says, we long for the spiritual intimacy in your leadership so deeply. It is a very strong drive for us. If we are doing something that makes you feel disrespected, maybe you can gently, quietly, and calmly ask us to change our approach. But it means the world to most of us when you say, let's pray together. If you rather pray in emails, or if you want to pray or have us pray silently along with you, or if you want to just put your hands on the head or back or shoulder and pray over us silently, or tell each other prayer requests, then pray quietly side by side. Whatever way makes you feel comfortable, you could maybe suggest that. So that's one of the tips that was given from wives.
It's like that quote that says, a family that prays together stays together. And it's the truth. When when you and your spouse take the time to present your home, your needs before God as a couple, it's like, wow, this is great, because it's basically going according to the word of God. He is the leader of that household. So therefore, he's taken lead to pray for you, the wife, and the wife feels good about it, because now my husband is praying for me.
Yes.
My husband is praying for our home and for the needs of our family, and we're praying together. So yeah, it's almost like he's not a pastor in your house, but he's he's that leader of your house.
Yes.
So that's one of the things. For many of us, another thing is not complimenting us.
Yeah, you don't want her to receive compliments outside of the home a lot.
Yeah.
Because, that happens a lot in offices.
Yes.
Even when catching public transportation, if you see the same people every day, and, somebody's complimenting your husband, complimenting your wife, after a while, if you're not receiving it from the one that you should be receiving it from, it, like we said, don't leave that door cracked, because then, people ways will ease on in, and before you know it, you find yourself in sticky situations.
We are so verbal, and it seems like nothing nothing at all to ask you to say, you look beautiful, you're sexy, you're gorgeous. Sometimes once a month, once a week, or something. I know that you may just not be verbal, and sometimes a lot of men aren't verbal. That is the truth. They were verbal in those 3 months.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Until he got you, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just until he got your heart. So then once he did that, he felt like, I don't have to do it anymore.
Right.
She knows I love her.
But you know what, Susie? Some people might say, well, she or he may be insecure. It's not even about insecurity. It's like, yeah, they may be secure in who they are, but it just feels good to receive that compliment.
I always say this, and I think it's cute, and I like it when we say this. Well, that's my boyfriend. Because he's still boyfriend and girlfriend, that's still my boyfriend, that's my girlfriend. And so those are things that are really sweet, and you have to think of those things that you did, and use them again. Hey girlfriend, whatever sweet nothings you said to her back then to woo her, still do it. And trust me, it'll start doing something to her heart. It'll start doing something to her emotions, so she's like, oh my God. You still get the little butterflies, but if that's missing, then it takes 2 people to get it started. So it's just both of you to make it intentional. Okay? So that none of us, neither one is feeling like Potiphar's wife. Okay?
Another good one we talked about, because we talked about Potiphar, how he was doing a lot of work. So for those that are working a lot of overtime because you're thinking, this is going to help the household and so forth, from a wife's point of view, we don't tend to measure your work as a way you show you love us, even though you probably do. We measure time spent with us, talking with us, sharing feelings, emotions, and being together more as a measure of your love. When we feel like you are at work 10 to 16 hours per day and have no time for us, we feel abandoned, unimportant, unloved. I know that you are trying to be the best provider, and that is awesome. But if we have money and don't have time with you, it doesn't feel like love to us. We rather have time with you and not have so much stuff usually than have fantasy things and no time together with you. And that goes with just even when children are involved. We always talk about, fathers being in children's life. It's not about giving them gifts. It's that time. Well, it's the same thing when you're in a relationship, when you're married. Time is important.
Yeah, because she's pretty much home alone doing everything. She's dealing with the kids. She's dealing with the household. Sometimes she even works. So if there's like this main focus that we just gotta make money because now money became the god of the household,
right?
Then there's gonna be a huge problem, a big disconnect. And sometimes you see these mansions, Zoe, and you be like, oh my God, what a beautiful mansion,
but it's not a home.
Exactly. There's missing. There's things that are missing because of either that woman is working from 7 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, or that man is working from 7 in the morning to 10 o'clock. Whatever the deal is,
right?
They're just passing. There's ships passing by, and so there's really no connection. And eventually, it does fall apart. The kids, it affects the children. The children don't have either parent or have one and not the other, and so it's like, well, why should I listen to you when you're never here?
Right. And knowing what's going on.
And
speaking about reality shows, like I usually don't watch it at all. But when I went to my mom's house, it was even like, they have these pastor reality shows. And I forget which one it was, but that's what his wife was saying to him. And he was like, I'm out pastoring. I'm out, saving souls and, just, putting it all on the table. And the wife was like, but I'm here. I need you too. You don't know all that's going on. And it was a really heavy subject that needed to be talked about, that he had no clue when it came to her health and what was taking place. But, because he was out there, so it was like, I'm out here doing God's works, but God also tells us, I think it's in Corinthians, how you belong to your wife, and the wife, you belong to your husband. So it's like, no, you still got to get everything in order, even as a pastor, as whatever role you play in the world, but you got to still remember home.
Yeah, just because you're a pastor doesn't give you a license not to do what you still need to do at home. I mean, it doesn't give you that pass. I mean, you still have to be responsible. And what happens in your house has to be in order. Yes, the house of God must be in order, but your house has to be in order. I love it. And she's very transparent. She always says it. And I love this woman. I'm not going to say her name. But she knows who she is, and she's watching this. And I remember she said, I need my husband. I don't want the pastor.
Right.
I need my husband, who is the pastor.
Right.
But I want to talk to my husband.
Right.
And he was cute because he's like telling her, he's talking to her like the pastor. And she's like, I want my husband.
Right.
So they're both cute. I love them. They're awesome, and they're great examples of being real. Because at the end, you have to be real. It doesn't matter what position, what status you hold. When we talk about Potiphar, when we just go back on that, and any man or any woman, when you have stuff that's happening in the house, you want to try to you want to cover it up because you're trying to keep the status. People think you're perfect, so you're trying to maintain that. But you know what? If your house is not in order, it's going to spill.
Oh, yeah.
Because either your wife is going to get out of control, husband's going to get out of control, or your children are going to get out of control.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, it's going to spill over. So we have to be very wise. So another tip, Zoe, is there another one?
Well, this one, you're talking about things getting out of control. When things do get out of control, they blow up. One of the things that we found that, the spouse may still want some physical interaction.
Oh, yeah.
Even when you haven't had a good emotional or spiritual connection in days. It's like, come on now, like, you want what? Like, roll over, go somewhere. Like, but it's saying if we are not very warmed up to the thought of physical intimacy, try allowing us to talk and listening to us for 15-30 minutes. Pray with us. Again, talk about how emotionally connected you feel with us during intimacy. turn off the electronics and focus on our hearts and souls. So yeah, that phone has to get turned off. Maybe a massage, bath together could help us relax and do something, chores together. Just help out, is what means a lot to the wife.
See, you said all those great things, right? And that man is saying praying together. He heard everything else. He didn't hear praying together.
Man, that is just that is the most intimacy ever. Like that's number one. Like yeah.
But it must be, like Zoe says, it's number one. And once you have that as number one, everything else falls into place.
Yes.
So Zoe, I think we're done.
Yeah, because we got like 2 more minutes. And family, it has been great talking with you another week. Make sure you check out our website, sisterspeakslife.com, and also our YouTube account is updated. Yes. So if you haven't seen some videos, due to if your schedule is like ours, you may have missed a week. Feel free to go into our YouTube account. You can get caught up on the different videos and let us know. Give your comments on the videos. Let us know on our posts. So that way we can keep going in direction of what you need. And we're going to keep following God's direction, but we also want to hear feedback from you.
That's right.
So like we always say, from the north to the south to the east to the west, remember you are what? Fearfully and wonderfully made. God loves you.